Okay. All right, guys. Can I get a thumbs up that you see me and hear me and see the board okay? Yep. My big fat head's on the way? Okay. All right, so here we go. We're still going to graph quadratic equations in standard form and make those U-shaped graph the parabola.
Wait,
I hope...
They can see you, right? Because I cannot.
Can you guys see me? Mrs. Greenhouse cannot see me.
I can see you.
Okay. Since they're at home, they're probably okay.
Oh, a different connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to make sure that that's the
Okay.
Are you recording?
I am recording, Michael. Good call. All right, here we go. So we are still going to graph the degree 2 quadratic equations in standard form and make that U-shaped graph the parabola. I hope you guys would all agree that this isn't like the hardest thing we've done, but it's long and annoying, right? I definitely will give it that. It's obviously a process, but I'm telling you, the more we practice, this does become like a routine and you will move through it pretty quick. All right, so I don't have any written notes for you guys today. I just wanted to show you what this is going to look like on Delta Math, because Delta Math has a few requirements that I want you guys to be aware of. All right, so here we go. We're going to graph the equation y equals x squared minus 4x minus 5 on the accompanying set of axes. So guys, we're going to graph it right on here. All right. It's also, after that, it's going to ask you to use the graph to determine the roots, which are the x-intercepts of the equation, x squared minus 4x minus 5. Guys, it's the same equation. So we're going to use our graph to pick off the x-intercepts because we're going to have to put them in at the end of the problem. Not every single question is going to ask you to do that. Every question is going to ask you to graph it. Then it's either going to ask you for the roots, like this one did, or it's going to ask you for the AOS, or it's going to ask you for the vertex. There's 3 different kinds of problems on this assignment, just depending on what they ask you for after you graph it. Now, another thing I need you guys to pay really close attention to is that when you go to graph it, it says you must plot 5 points. Well, guys, I make you find 5 points. I make you find the vertex, 2 matching points, and 2 matching points. So I already have you guys finding 5 points. However, this Delta Math, it's only going to let you click on a total of 5 dots. If you tried to click on a 6th dot, which could still be a point on the parabola, Delta Math won't let you click on it. It won't appear as a point, and it annoys me, but it won't. All right? So because it lets you only graph 5 points, it says out of those 5 points, they have to include the vertex, which we're always going to have. But out of those 5 points, you also have to include the roots, the x-intercepts. So sometimes when you graph your 5 dots, the x-intercepts aren't part of those 5. So then that means you're going to have to unclick certain dots and then go click on the roots or the x-intercepts to make sure they're part of what you graph. And I'm going to show you what I mean on this one. I'm just giving you a heads up. All right, here we go. So let's graph it. So in this problem, A is 1. Let me move my mouse real quick. All right, A is 1. B, the number in front of X is -4, and C is -5. All right, does this parabola open up or down? Well, if A, the number in front of x squared, is positive, we know it's going up. So we have a visual as to what our parabola should end up looking like. All right, well, guys, let's do it. Let's start getting some points. Let's go right for it. Let's get that vertex, the most important point. We'll get the vertex because we have a formula that tells us the x-coordinate of our vertex is always equal to the opposite of b divided by 2 times a. So in this problem, if we said b is -4, then the opposite of that is +4. And then it's over 2 times a is 1. Well, guys, 2 times 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that means the x-coordinate of our vertex is definitely +2. Everybody okay? Yes? We're hanging in? Okay. Now, I wish there was a magic formula for the y-coordinate too, but there isn't. To get the y-coordinate, you have to take your x-coordinate, plug it in for x, and then see what y equals, okay? All right, so y will equal. I'm going to plug in 2 and square it. -4 times 2, and then -5. I would plug that just the way I wrote it into your calculator and hit enter. It does the entire thing for you. Otherwise, it's going to be what? 4 minus 8 minus 5. You're going to get -9. Okay? So that means our vertex is the point 2, -9. I'm going to go click on that dot right now and start graphing it as I get it. Boom, I got it. So right now, 2, -9 is my vertex. That counts as one of the 5 dots that it's going to let me click on. All right, now the AOS, the axis of symmetry, right? That's the invisible vertical line that goes right through your vertex, and he cuts the parabola in half, and he says that everything on this side has to be the same on this side, okay? Now again, delta math isn't going to let you physically put that line on your graph. But sometimes at the end of the problem, they ask you for the equation of the AOS. So you don't want to skip that part. You still might need it as an answer. You're just never going to be able to put that line on your graph. All right, and then that's going to be the equation of this vertical line, which is x equals, what's that x coordinate that never changes? 2. Right? They always match with the vertex. So that's our AOS, the line x equals 2. All right, let's get ourselves a table. Let's get the rest of these points and get our U-shaped parabola. All right, I asked you guys to put the vertex in the middle of your table. And then you're going to pick 2 x values to the right, which would be 3 and 4. And then 2 x values to the left, 1 and 0. And then because there is this whole matching and symmetry thing going on, I please beg you to make sure your table is in this order, from least to greatest. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now because it's symmetrical, you really only have to plug in 0 and 1, find out their y values, and then you can match them to the 3 and the 4. Or you can plug 3 and 4 in, get their y values, and then match them to the 0 and the 1. Or you could plug all 4 numbers in. It's a personal choice. I'm going to plug 1 and 0 in, just because they're smaller and easier to work with, okay? All right, so I asked you, though, plug the one next to your vertex in first. So I'm going to plug 1 in first. So y will equal 1 squared minus 4 times 1, and then minus 5. Plug that in, hit enter, does the whole thing for you. You should get -8 to come out. So I'm going to plot them first before I click on them. That means 1, -8 is a point on your parabola. So you see how he's 1 space away from your AOS? 1 space away on the other side, there's that matching point. So that means anybody who plugged in 3 would have also got a -8 to come out. There's going to be that matching on both sides of the vertex. All right, now let's plug in 0 and get our final points. So y will equal, plug in 0, square it, minus 4 times 0, and then minus 5. And you should get -5 to come out when you plug that into your calculator. All right, so 0, -5. So you see how he's 2 spaces away from your AOS? 2 spaces away on the other side, there's that matching point. So that means anybody who plugged in 4 would have also got a -5 to come out. Right, and then there's that matching. Okay, all right, well guys, when you go to Delta Math, I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to click on this dot, I'm going to click on this dot, I'm going to click on that dot, and then this is my 5th dot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The minute you click on your 5th dot, the parabola graphs itself. It automatically just appears on your screen once you click on the 5th dot. Don't blink or you'll miss it. All right, there it is, and now here comes my 5th dot right there. Boom, all right. Now here's the problem. Guys, this parabola is completely correct. It's beautiful. It's like tear to your eye beautiful, all right? We definitely did everything correct. The problem is, out of our 5 dots, I didn't include my roots, my x-intercepts. And it clearly said, plot 5 points points, including the roots of the vertex. So unfortunately, if you were to submit this question, yes, your graph is correct. It's going to mark you wrong. It's going to give you a red X and not a green check. And that's really annoying. The good news is, because it graphs it for you now, I can see that I have a root when X is -1, and I have a root when X is 5. So all you have to do is remember that, -1, 5, and then go back, unclick this dot, and then click on the -1 and the 5. Or unclick this dot and unclick that dot and go click on the -1 and the 5. But the minute you unclick something, the graph is going to disappear. So make sure you remember that it's -1 and 5. All right, so I'm going to unclick this, and I'm going to click on the -1 and the 5. And there it is. And it still gives me the same parabola. See how this dot and this dot are still there? They just can't be one of my 5 dots. Your 5 dots have to include the roots, the x-intercepts, and the vertex. Does that make sense, Michael? You understand? You get that? Guys at home, are everybody okay with that? Because that's like annoying that you have to go back and change that. But I'm telling you, you will get marked wrong and then have to do an entirely different problem. So just make sure that your 5 dots are including the roots and the and the vertex, sorry. All right, here we go. So that's the first part. The second part says, using the graph, determine the roots of the equation. Well, guys, that is the equation. The roots are the x-intercepts. My roots, x-intercepts, are -1 and 5. So we're going to have to enter that below because that's the second question they're asking us. Okay, so you see how it says answer type? We have 2 numbers where our graph crossed over the x-axis. We have 2 roots. So that's what you want to click on. And then you're going to put in -1 was one of the numbers it crossed the x-axis at, and 5 was the other, or 5 -1. The order doesn't matter. If the question had asked you to find the vertex as the second part of this problem, then you would choose the answer type as 1 point, because the vertex is 1 point. If the second part of the question asked, find the axis of symmetry, then the answer type would be one equation. It would be the equation x equals 2 here, our AOX. All right? So those are the only 3 things they're going to ask. They're going to ask for the roots, the vertex, or the AOX. So when they ask for the roots, click 2 numbers and put those numbers in. They don't make you write them as an ordered pair here. And then you can hit submit answer, and we're good to go. Okay? Because I would hate to see you guys get this one wrong when your graph is right because you didn't have your x-intercepts plotted as dots. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then we'll let you guys go.
Do you have a specific one, or are you just
I have to find one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want this one to be, what was this one? A root? I'm going to do an AOS one. Because the vertex is. All right, new problem. Oh, this could work. Beautiful. Couldn't have planned it any better, Michael. All right, guys, let's do this one. All right, so now we're going to graph this quadratic equation in standard form on the accompanying set of axes. We're going to plot 5 points that have to include the roots and the vertex. We got it. Using the graph at the end of the problem, once you've graphed it, determine the equation of the axis of symmetry. So now the second part here isn't asking for the roots. It's asking for the AOS. All right, here we go. A is -1. B is -4. And C is -3. All right, is this parabola going to open up or down? Well, if A, the number in front of x squared, is negative, we're going down. All right, so now we have a visual as to what our parabola should look like. So if our parabola ends up going up, we know we did something wrong. All right, let's do it. Let's get that vertex, the most important point. I will get the x coordinate of my vertex using the formula. X equals the opposite of B divided by 2 times A. All right, the opposite of B. Well, we said B was -4, so the opposite of that is +4. And then over 2 times -1, well, 2 times -1 is -2. And now 4 divided by -2 is -2. So now we know the x-coordinate of our vertex is -2. Everybody good? Okay? All right, now I got to get the y-coordinate. I can only get the y-coordinate by taking -2, plugging it in for x, and seeing what y equals. So remember, this negative is not part of what you're squaring. So make sure he stays on the outside of that parenthesis. Now I can plug in -2 and square. And then -4 times -2, and then -3. I would plug that into my calculator and hit enter. Otherwise, you're going to get -4 plus 8 minus 3. That's going to be 4 minus 3. You should get +1 as your y-coordinate, which makes your vertex, the point, -2, 1. All right, let's click on that dot. Well, I'll click on it. Boom. All right, so we got -2, 1. Now let's do the AOS, because that's actually what the second part of this problem is going to ask us to answer. So the AOS is always that invisible vertical line that cuts your parabola in half and goes right through your vertex. All right, so what is the equation of this vertical line? It's the line x equals, what's that x coordinate that doesn't change? -2. So hang on to that because that's going to be part 2's answer. All right, now let's make our table. Let's get this graph. All right, let's put our vertex in the middle. And then we're going to pick 2 numbers to the right, which would be -1 and 0. And then we're going to pick 2 numbers to the left, -3 and -4. And again, please make sure they go in that order from left to right, from smallest to biggest. -4, -3, -2, -1, and 0. So now you have 2 options. I can plug in -4 and -3, get their y values, and match them. Or I can plug in -1 and 0, get their y values, and match them. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of feeling -1 and 0. They seem smaller and easier to work with. So I'm going to plug -1, the one right next to my vertex, in first. So y equals negatives on the outside. Then I'm going to square -1, -4 times -1, and then -3. Type that into your calculator, hit enter, it does the entire thing for you. And in this case, you're actually going to get 0. All right, so that means when -1 went in, a 0 came out. So since he's 1 space away from the AOS, 1 space away on the other side is that matching point. So that means anybody who plugged -3 in would have also got 0 to come out, right? There's that matching on both sides. All right, let me plug 0 in, and I'll have my graph. Y equals negative on the outside, 0 squared, -4 times 0, and then -3. I think you can still see that, yeah. All right, and then you're going to get -3 to come out. All right, so that means 0 went in, and -3 came out. So 2 spaces away, on the other side, there's that matching point. So that means anybody who plugged -4 in would have also got -3 to come out. Okay? All right, now, guys, here's the beautiful thing. My parabola, here's my 5 dots. And my 5 dots already include the roots, the x-intercepts. So I'm not going to have to worry about unclicking and then clicking these. Luckily for us, 2 of our dots are already the roots, the x-intercepts. So let me just go click on them, and it should graph itself, and we can go on to question 2. All right, so -1, 0, -3, 0, 0, -3. And then there's my graph. My zeros, my x-intercepts, my roots are already there. Let's go down to question 2 now. Question 2 says, determine the equation of the axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry, that answer type is one equation, and it's the equation x equals -2, according to what we wrote down. and you're good to go. Okay? All right, how do you feel, okay? Guys at home, is everybody all right? Excellent. All right, so let me double check the attendance is good, Miss Greenhouse?
Oh, sorry, I did not.
Oh, we can.
The problems down.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'll do it with you.
We can do the list.
So as we say your names, guys, you're gonna be good to go. Oh, wait, hold on. So tonight, your homework tonight, I didn't post it on Google Classroom yet. I'm gonna post it right now. You have a Delta Math assignment. You have to do 5 of these problems. You have to get 5 questions correct, okay? And then last night's quizzes assignment is due tonight. This Delta Math assignment won't be due until tomorrow night at 11:45. And again, it's not on your Google Classroom yet. I'm gonna go post it right now. It's gonna be homework number 3 on Delta Math. All right, attend.